And I just think it's hilarious when people are like, you guys are thinking too deep about it. But yet I can Google search, The Matrix changed my life, and this video will pop up with 10 million views, and the guy's like, The Matrix changed my life, changed the way I wrote things, changed the way I think about life. Is every Hollywood movie seriously the same story, just repackaged over and over again?
Find out on this episode of LED Live.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us again at LED Live. We're going to be talking about a subject that has already been talked about, but I thought it'd be good to do a nice little review because it seems like if you watch something one day and then next week you see it again and maybe 2 weeks later you see another example, you don't really get that big picture. You see it all together. So I wanted to go through kind of a review of something that Scotty started a long time ago called the Gnostic Gospels. There is a video of that. Click down here somewhere to watch that video, but it's a really good presentation on the comparison of the Truman Show, the Matrix, Pleasantville, and how all these movies are using a story of something called Gnosticism. It's this mythology that's a twisted version of the Bible. And so we keep seeing this same trend over and over and over again. I mean, every time we see a movie trailer, we're like, there it is again. And so it's like, how many times do you have to put this in a video presentation? But I don't think a lot of people are really watching like the older video, the Gnostic Gospels. It's a really good video. It's kind of underrated. I think you guys should check it out. But I wanted to kind of go through some of that, some of the other ones that we've talked about, and then some new movies so that you can see a pattern so that when you start seeing new movies come out, you'll be able to catch on. Oh yeah, here they're doing it again. They're doing the Gnosticism again. So let's look at the first example here. The Matrix is a really well-known Gnostic movie. These guys don't hide it. They openly will tell you that this movie is a Gnostic theme. The producers, well, they're not guys anymore. They're women. That's a whole different subject. But Neo, the word Neo means new. And what is that? How is that significant?
Well, I mean, his last name is Anderson. Ander is the Greek word for man. So he's the new son of man.
Oh,
what? Which is a new age Christ.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like a new age Christ. That's what we see a lot in movies. Is the main character is either like a generic person like humanity or maybe Adam, or it's like Christ. And there's always the character that they're going after has all these attributes of God. But we're going to go through some of that. What I wanted to show here was, it says Neo is a former blue pill rescued by Morpheus together with the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar, interesting word there, that's biblical. As a red pill, he was prophesied by the oracle to be the one. Mm-hmm. So who was prophesied to be the one in the Bible? You know, this is setting him up to look like he's a Jesus figure. And you would think, oh, cool, he's the hero. He's like Jesus, kind of like the whole Superman thing. You know, he was sent from another planet to save Earth. Mm. And they set him up like, oh, this is a Christ character. But when you look at their characteristics or their mission is totally opposite of God. Actually, it's the inversion of Christ, which would be the Antichrist. So in Gnosticism, there's a character called Sophia, which is basically the feminine version of the serpent in the garden, right? She came and said to Adam and Eve, oh, God is this terrible tyrannical dictator that's put you in this prison, and if you eat the fruit, you're actually going to become wise like God, and you're going to be able to elevate to his level, and he's just trying to keep you from having this secret knowledge. So
in Gnosticism, this particular female or whatever voice wakes that individual up that they're, you know, even in a controlled society, the Gnostics believe that like that snake in the Garden of Eden is a good thing.
Right.
Like I just
it's inverted.
Know, yeah, it's a good thing that you know they were being controlled, and that awakening allows them to step outside of that controlled environment.
Yeah. When I hear that narrative, I already think of all kinds of movies. You know, you're in this fake world, wake up, you know. Mm-hmm. I was trying to see what it actually said on here. She assisted in the creation of the material world. When it creates mortal humans, she grants them souls and grants them the secret knowledge of the true spiritual universe so they can be freed from Yaldabaoth's influence, which Yaldabaoth, that's
Yaldabaoth
right?
was the creator god that created the material world, and in their legend or whatever, they basically say that he created the world to be evil. Like he was like a mean, just kind of like, didn't make it a nice, pretty place, but made it this evil place, which obviously you can see the inversion, because the creator God that created the universe created it perfect. It was beautiful. It was,
kept them from knowledge, like raising a child in a shed, and there's a computer with the internet right there, but you never let them have access to it. And like imagine all the stuff they could learn, but no, I'm not going to let you learn all that stuff. So you'll see there's always a character that is this Sophia or serpent character. Are you going to say something?
Yeah, this is also Greek. Sophia comes from the Greek word meaning wise, or sophos, wisdom. So Neo, Greek, Sophia, Greek.
Oh, okay.
Both Greek
terms.
terms.
Pattern there. So in the Matrix series, Trinity would be that Sophia character. She's the one who, let's see, it says at the beginning of the series, she is the first mate on Morpheus's Nebuchadnezzar and serves mainly as a go-between for him and the individuals he wishes to free from the Matrix. As the series progresses, her primary importance as a character becomes her close relationship with Neo. She is skilled with computers and operating vehicles both inside and outside the Matrix and in martial arts. Throughout the series, her original name... Let's see. What I wanted to mention was, so Trinity is a programmer and a hacker who has escaped from the Matrix. So she has figured out that this world is a fake world, and she's a hacker, and she's, woke up to this thing, and she's the one that's trying to wake up.
She's woke.
That's right.
She's woke.
So just so you guys see this pattern, she is the serpent or the Sophia character, and the constant villain in here.
Yeah, let's. I mean, I feel like we're going so fast. There's so much here.
There is.
What is Morpheus? Morpheus is also a Greek.
Okay.
It's Morpheus is the god of dreams.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's interesting here when you have Morpheus, the god of dreams, coming to wake Neo, right, from a dream, right? And what ship is he on? The Nebuchadnezzar, the king who had dreams, right, that had to be interpreted.
Also the king of Babylon.
The king of Babylon. Yes, the king of Babylon. So there's little details like that, and it's like there's such a mixture of mythology and the Bible. And it's like, but why are you bringing the Bible part in? That's what I find myself asking, is why are we bringing the Bible in? What does that have? Is it just because the word Nebuchadnezzar is cool?
Yeah.
Or does it mean something? What's behind all of that?
People say, because America's just been saturated with the Bible. Well, we see it in anime. Less than 1% of Christianity there, and that's where people attack us. Like, you're attacking a media that doesn't even have Christian influence. Well, yeah, when it's called Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it's them versus the angels and everything, it's all there.
But they're choosing. I mean, when you write a story, you're choosing the names, you're choosing the locations, you're choosing all of that. You're doing it on purpose. And so in this case, if these things have significance in other realms, you know that before you're choosing that, and it's probably why you're choosing it.
Nothing is random chance in a movie. I mean, everything is planned out specifically for that. I did some extra work on Lost, ABC's Lost 10 years ago, and man, they had the books in the hands of the person, and the things that were written, even inside the book, if they were to ever open it, said something. It wasn't just by chance.
Wow.
They wanted to know exactly what was going to be and where it was going to be all the time. Cans in the back had words on it you'd probably never see, but they had to say something specific. It's all planned out. All planned out.
It's interesting to have insiders on there.
And sometimes there's a lot of irony. Isn't there a scene in The Matrix where, in one of them, I don't remember which one, they open a book, and it's like a fake book, that you would have on the shelf. It's supposed to be like empty to store something. And on the opposite page of, where you would store the empty thing, there's a headline. Do you remember what it says?
It was the Simulacra, or I don't know the name of the book actually.
Not the name of the book. Like, what did it say on the page across from it?
I don't remember, but I remember talking about it when we first saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here the book was empty, and it had something to do with like it was some kind of empty philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
I don't remember.
Oh man, it's gonna drive me crazy. But
What?
we're working on a Matrix project.
Yes.
So that's probably why it's more fresh on our minds, and so we've let that cat out of the bag. So coming soon.
And I just think it's hilarious when people are like, "You guys are thinking too deep about it," but yet I can Google search "The Matrix changed my life," and this video will pop up with 10 million views, and the guy's like, "The Matrix changed my life, changed the way I wrote things, changed the way I think about life," and it's like, and you read the comments, and everybody's like, "Yes, it did the same thing for me." We make a video. You guys are thinking way too deep about it.
Yeah. Well, the videos they were releasing for this newest Matrix installment, there was a video I remember seeing that basically had a bunch of behind the scenes with the actors, and had Keanu Reeves and had her and some of the people, and they were talking about the influence that it's had over the world, basically pop culture, and is pretty shocking to hear. I mean, people say they changed our lexicon, like they changed the language that we use, and I mean, this was a powerful mogul of a movie.
We use the word, "Are you red pilling right now?"
Right.
About to red pill you,
You know,
yeah.
so
You're about to
yes.
escape the Matrix and stuff. Like we
Yeah.
say that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the villain in this is these agents. And it says agents came to existence when the machines defeated humanity during the early stages of the machine war, and upon the machines' creation of the Matrix, they were old enough to witness the creation of the Paradise and the Nightmare Matrix prototypes. So they were in existence when the creation of Paradise and Nightmare happened. And it says agents were sentient security eradication programs created within the source, whose primary function was to eliminate anyone or anything that could potentially reveal the truth of the Matrix to its inhabitants or cause harm to its system. Their directive effectively functions in parallel with the role of the assassins and secret police, hunting down specific individuals and erasing, i.e. killing them. They serve as the primary and later as the secondary antagonist of the Matrix series following Agent Smith's breakaway from the group, operating always in threes.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting? They're
Yeah.
always in three, so it just makes me think of the Godhead.
That's right. They would actually, in the first Matrix, finish each other's sentences, and one would say something, another one would say the other one, and so yeah, this to me was a representation of the actual real Godhead.
But not only that, and I don't want to reveal too much because, like you said, we're working on this Matrix project, and in the fourth one, they actually call this Matrix Deus Machina, which means the machine god.
Oh,
I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore. So
Machine God.
it's a Latin.
Yeah.
All right, so that was just to kind of fill you in on one example of Gnosticism in a movie, and one that's, we're not just seeing this, we're not just making this up. This is NPR News. It is a secular source, and they're interviewing the makers of The Matrix. And it says, he explains to NPR Rick's Carr that his book is a thought experiment. Thought experiment. This isn't like, oh, it's just a movie. It's just for entertainment. You're thinking too much about it. No, a thought experiment, right? This is the same thing we see people do when they do social experiments, right? How is somebody going to respond in this scenario? And you can get data off of that and see, well, you know, if somebody sees something bad happen, do they really act on it? You can get a lot of information from that. They're calling this movie or this book a thought experiment based on the notion that this reality is in fact a dream world, which goes back to the Morpheus, god of dreams. If we act as if it is true, does that enhance our lives and our experience? And my experience is that it does. Things start to make a lot more sense when we begin to entertain the possibility that we are in fact living in a dream world controlled by invisible beings.
See, right here, I think they're letting the cat out of the bag of the sort of antagonistic view of there's something still trying to control us, and we need to get out of that control.
They're
and
controlled by invisible beings.
and
not,
I think
not overlooked and loved by invisible beings.
right. I think that's going all the way back to the Garden of Eden. I mean, the devil's main thing that he was trying to convince Eve of was that you're being controlled. You're not allowed to, do whatever you want to do in this world. And I'm offering you something more. You can have freedom, and you can be your own God. And all those simple things are this is a more complex version of that.
I just noticed your shirt, dude. That's perfect for this episode.
I know.
Follow the right rabbi.
You can get that on lightwear.shop.
That's right.
What's so strange about that too, just thinking about that concept is, in the Matrix, it's like if you're Neo or Trinity or any of humans, it's all about getting out of that dream world, getting out of that computer world and living in the real world. That's where it's really at. And what are we trying to do now? Get into the metaverse.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. But it's get into the metaverse for the same reason that you were just talking about, because it's a world where you can do anything, you can be anybody, there are no rules.
And that's the push.
So it's like, it's just even flipping that concept, it's like, get out of reality, get into the metaverse. It's like saying, get into the Matrix, that's where you need to be. It's so strange.
They go even as far as to say this idea is not new. It mirrors the 2,000-year-old spiritual tradition of Gnosticism. We're not just making this up. They're telling us. An early form of Christianity, Gnosticism maintains that the world that we are living in is not the ultimate reality, says Francis Flannery Daly, who teaches religion at Hendrix College in Conway, Arkansas, I guess. It believes that the God who created this world is not the ultimate God. There is a higher God, a transcendent reality. It goes on to say, in Gnosticism, the Christ-like Redeemer brings the world knowledge. In The Matrix, the myth is embodied in Keanu Reeves' character Neo, also known as the One. In his book, The Gospel Reloaded, Greg Garrett, a professor of English at Baylor University, says, the action and violence of the film series may be the most effective way to draw in crowds and communicate a spiritual message in a media-saturated world. So we're going to put something that's full of explosions and fights to draw people in so we can give them this spiritual message. Religion and spirituality are communicated to our culture by movies, much more than they are by the traditional venues of synagogue or church, Garrett says. A really good myth does more than just create a symbolic world. It articulates the feelings that a culture already feels or believes.
Okay, so this statement that you just read right here is sadly probably true.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that everyone has to take a look at something like this and say, that's the whole reason why you need to be careful of what kind of movies you watch, because this is the sort of the method that the devil is using to get his messages across, and it's a very effective method that he's using. In fact, they're recognizing that a lot of more people are getting this message than they are getting the message that's coming out of the church.
I want you to notice he's a professor of English. This isn't some pastor.
Right.
This is an interesting statement. In Gnosticism, the Christ-like Redeemer brings the world knowledge. It's fascinating because, when the serpent came to bring knowledge, and he said to the woman, you shall be like God, knowing. Knowing what? Good and evil. God never intended for man to know evil.
That's right.
This is assuming that all knowledge is created equal. It's not. There is knowledge that God never intended for us to know. He never intended for us to see the things that we see or hear the things that we hear.
To know pain, to know sadness.
We were never supposed to know certain things.
And so bringing that knowledge is not always a good thing.
It's not.
So,
Well, just so you put it into something tangible, when I was a rebellious teen and I found out how to make napalm from the Anarchist Cookbook, I went out and did it, man. It was like, and that's the thing, if I never knew how to do that, then I couldn't have gotten in trouble by doing that stuff, So it's not always good to know things. So we'll segue into Star Wars. We have a video on Star Wars. It's almost 30 minutes that Scotty put together on this. But I think it's interesting that Darth Vader is dressed almost identical to the high priest, and he's the bad guy. He's the villain. His name is Darth Vader, which is Dark Father. So he is the father. He's the all-powerful ruler that's trying to tyrannically dictate the whole world. And in the buttons on his chest, there's actually Hebrew written in there. And so I think that this is not a mistake or a coincidence. I mean, he's supposed to be an alien from another world. Why have Hebrew written on his buttons? Why is the similarity so similar? And then you see right here, I mean, all his troops are in white and uniform, standing on either side of him. And you can see the parallels there.
Born of a virgin.
Yeah, the next scene here, this is actually from the comic.
What?
It's in the movie as well. But it says here, there was no father in that first frame.
Yeah.
He had no father. It's unnatural, the chosen one.
You didn't know that? He
I
was
had no
conceived by the
idea.
midichlorians, which is like being conceived by the Holy Spirit.
See, back in the day, I was a Trekkie. I didn't know what Star Wars was.
Yeah, he had no father, and that was a prophecy
Yeah.
in Star Wars.
does
It
say
was
the prophecy.
prophesied
Oh
that he
my
would not have a father,
goodness.
and that when he came, he would bring balance to the Force.
Oh, that's exactly right. It's actually here. It says Anakin Skywalker, which is the previous name of Darth Vader, was a legendary Force-sensitive human male who was a Jedi Knight of the Galactic Republic and the prophesied chosen one. This
So-
is exactly what Neo was.
What's fascinating about Star Wars is you have two sides, right? You have good and you have evil. Okay, so the good guys are the rebels, and the bad guys are the Republic.
Always.
Right?
Gnostic, right?
Well, if you look up the definition of what a republic is, I think it's the Republic. Isn't it the Republic they call them in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you look that up, and it's basically like a kingdom that's controlled by a sole supreme authority,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's the Empire.
The
That's
Empire.
you're
That's
going
what it was.
against.
The
Yeah.
Empire.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It's not Republic. It's the Empire. The Empire is, controlled by a single supreme authority, and the rebels are, they don't go along with anybody's agenda but their own. It's like, well, think about that. What is God? God is the King of heaven, the earth, the sea, the fountains of waters. He is a single supreme authority.
He's going to
Right?
set up his kingdom here.
And what has Satan done? He has rebelled against God.
The Empire also has a Death Star that has the ability to destroy an entire world, which is not a power that Satan has. It is only a power that God has.
Oh, wow.
Satan cannot destroy this planet completely. He's only allowed what God lets.
So I don't want to spill the whole video. You guys should watch the video. But I will say this little behind the scenes moment just because I think this is really strange. I remember when we were working on that video and you had found some clips from Joseph Campbell
Oh, yeah.
and George Lucas. So you found them, like you bookmarked them, and you went to go download those from YouTube. The next day or a couple days, he went back to go get them. And it said the videos had been removed, okay, which is, it's like, well, that's kind of weird. The weirdest part, though, is said it had been removed by Lucifer Morningstar, like 666.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait,
the-
I
the
kid you
channel-
No
the
joke. I
channel.
wish we had a screenshot.
Oh, man.
It was
Crazy
bizarre.
thing. Yeah. Like
Wow,
they were
dude.
tracking who was downloading.
It was
it.
like,
Nope,
They're
nope.
like, wait a minute,
What?
this guy who keeps making videos exposing us is
So we have those clips. We managed to get them. But Joseph
There are
Campbell,
ways.
Joseph Campbell influenced George Lucas heavily, and Joseph Campbell is a huge Gnostic. You should see some of the things that he says about God. Watch the video; it's got the clips.
So he was the prophesied chosen one.
Yeah.
And he was to bring balance to the Force, and he was a hero with no fear. No fear. Fear not. And of course, he's called Lord and all these things. What I think is interesting is, like Keith was saying, that the leader of the opposite side, the leader of the good side, if you will, is the rebels. And Darth Vader is his father, right? Everybody's familiar with this scene, I am your father. So if Darth Vader is the father of the leader of the rebels, that's literally like Lucifer. God is his father. He created him, right? And like Keith was saying, the rebellion is the side of the good side. Join the rebellion.
That's interesting.
Age of the rebellion. What do
You know where that comes from.
That's like propaganda stuff.
Oh, this is
The fist.
communist Marxism right
Right.
there. Totally ripped that off.
Yeah, there was
That
a lot of posters that came out
That's
that were
very
in the-
iconic.
in the vein of, this propaganda stuff. It was kind of like a joke. They had both sides or whatever.
Yeah.
But resist the empire.
Anytime you see a fist like that,
Like you just said, the empire. The definition is a large commercial organization owned or controlled by one person or group.
yeah, here, single supreme authority.
Yes. And when Christ comes, he's going to set up his kingdom here, and he is going to be the sole authority. So another movie that we see this same theme, Wreck-It Ralph. You have Ralph, who is the satanic figure, sitting in the city dump, which Jesus talked about, the city dump, Gehenna, hell. And he's looking, it's all to paint this sympathy for the devil thing. And notice it's the top floor that's all lit, right? Everybody's up there. They're in the highest floor of the penthouse, up there where the clouds are. And he's looking up there and he just wishes, look, he's covered in dirt. He just wishes he could join the happy people of, what's the name of this place?
Niceland.
Niceland. If I was like going to write a fairy tale, a fiction book telling the gospel, I'd call heaven Niceland, where everybody's nice and they're following the nice carpenter. He is a carpenter
really?
with a magic hammer that he got from his father. This is all in the movie.
man.
That he can fix whatever's broken.
Oh my goodness.
So he's the good carpenter that everybody follows. But look at the expression on this guy walking in. He's all mad and angry, looking back at Ralph as he's all sad and he's not accepted, So it's this whole sympathy for the devil. And here's just another little nudge that he is the serpent. He's offering the fruit to a snake. I think is interesting.
Or these little demon-looking things.
Yeah, offering the fruit. He meets the girl at the tree. We have a video on this, by the way. Look up the Wreck-It Ralph video. He meets the girl at the tree because she's wanting this medal that makes one like Felix. Felix is the good guy carpenter. He wears the medal. So basically the medal is like this illustration of the fruit of knowledge. You take that and you become like
And what's her name again?
Vanellope.
Vanellope.
But she's a glitch. So when she gets the medal that's supposed to make one like Felix, that's the first time you see her on screen glitch out. Now the whole thing in the movie is that the King Candy, the king of the whole world of Candyland or whatever, he's saying we got to get rid of that glitch because if we don't get rid of her, the whole system's going to get shut down.
Sin.
Yeah, it's sin. Like, we got to get rid of sin or else I'm going to have to wipe out the whole world. There's actually a scene where it shows her, and it's kind of like a dream or something in the sequence, and it shows her up in the screen, and you just see all the world behind her, like, coming into flames. Because that's what God is going to have to do to wipe out sin. He's going to have to cleanse the earth with fire. And so she has this glitch, but by the end of the movie, she actually is rewarded for that glitch. It's the glitch that helps her defeat the king, helps her win the race, because she actually promised that she would never use the glitch, but when she got in a certain situation, she said, all right, I'm going to have to use it to win. And she uses the glitch and it makes her cross the finish line. She becomes the princess, saves the day. All the people who were saying the rules are here to protect us, now they're crawling on their knees and thanking her. And Ralph gets to be the favorite bad guy, accepted by all the inhabitants of Niceland.
Which is very interesting. There's even a scene of him in the like sort of
Rehab or something.
Rehab,
like
yeah,
in AA.
and Satan's sitting right next to him.
Yeah.
And he's having a conversation with Satan.
And he says, thanks, Satan.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's
No,
in the movie?
no, it's
Yeah.
in the film.
It's called Bad Anon. It's like Bad Guys Anonymous. And he's saying, I wish I could be good. I just want to go up there. And they're like, no, don't. You can't be good. You're going to mess up the system. You have to be bad. You were created to be bad. That's the whole object of this movie.
Embrace your bad side, and then in the end, they're basically blending those two things together.
Yeah, he wants to be good, but they say, no, you were created to be bad. And in the end, they embrace him. You're our favorite bad guy. He didn't repent.
I don't know if you're going to touch on this one, but this is very similar to the Lego movie as well.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going into that. A new movie that just came out is called Ron's Gone Wild. And
Wrong.
Ron's gone wrong.
Ron's gone wrong. Yeah. Going back to those old commercials. Okay. Ron's gone wrong.
Yeah,
what are you
go ahead.
seeing just in this imagery?
He's glitching.
He's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea from us. Like, oh, it's, you're saying you can't be unique and all these things. That's what they're trying to make it look like. But the thing is these robots were programmed. You can see they're all white and they're all in they're all doing
Perfect
the right
order.
thing. Perfect order. And they were programmed to not be able to hurt humans. They're programmed to have all these safety features. Basically, in the movie, instead of everybody having a phone, kids all have this little robot, and it can record. It follows you around. It records you. All these kids have their own YouTube channel, and it's like it's basically it runs social media and everything. But you can ride it like a skateboard, and if it goes to the edge of a curb, it goes. It's got all these safety features to protect the child. Now, the main character, he wasn't able to afford one of these, so his dad bought one in a back alley that was a damaged one, and he was this Ron guy who's got a glitch, and he doesn't have any of the safety features. He actually smacks a cop, smacks a bully, and that's what gets the attention of the creators, and they're like, oh wait, there's one that's doing bad things. We got to demolish it. We have to put him in the compactor, and the kid ends up going in the compactor and saves him. And in the end, of course, Ron saves the kid and hacks the system and turns all of them
Wrong.
All of them wrong. And and it's a much happier world then, because all these robots are way cooler now that they have a glitch. So here's a scene of how he operates.
What?
I am insert registered name's best friend out of my box. Please connect me to the Bubble Network.
You know what's...
Hi.
No. What is wrong with you? Gran.
Gran.
There's something wrong with it, Gran.
It look all right to me.
44, 45, 40.
It doesn't work properly.
Destroy you.
What's happening?
I'm gonna destroy you.
Bro, it's pulling my head off.
41. Incorrect. I have no mega safety controls and stuff.
Where I can see him. Get away. That's crazy.
At least I'm not Uncle Boris.
For real? Upgrade them? So they'd all be like you? Wait, what?
Please connect me to the Bubble Network.
It's Mad Max meets Sesame Street live streaming. We think the safety controls are off on all the bots.
Choose your friends, and I choose everyone. Friend request, friend request.
So, here I am again. 18 minutes of recess fun.
So you see,
Wow.
he had to hack the system and make them all get rid of their safety feature, and it was a happy ending with the beautiful piano music and everything. What is this teaching your children, This
Better
is
to be broken.
Yeah, so moviespoiler.com just gave a quick synopsis, and I just want you to see this isn't just us overanalyzing. It says, Graham later gets Barney a B-bot that is slightly damaged, and it turns out to be defective and destructive. While Barney and Ron start to become friends, Bubble, the company that has made the B-bots, catches wind of Ron's existence because he hit Barney's classmate, Rich, as well as a police officer. The company tries to have Ron crushed, but Barney sneaks him out. Months later, all the other kids have B-bots acting like Ron. I mean, I just don't... Is everybody else seeing the same thing? I mean, we've seen this in other movies too that aren't included in here, such as, what was the Megamind and It's Good to Be Bad and all these things.
It's like the world is pushing ideas out there that there is this like boundaries or controls, and that's not really true freedom. And that if those are removed, then you can do whatever you want. And I mean, same kind of concept as Star Wars. It's just Star Wars is not necessarily about something like that modern or whatever, but the rebellion aspect is still the same.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, on a purely psychological level, what sells these movies and titillates the mind is what the desires that everyone has inside to do whatever you want, right? And if you want that, so you go to the movie to try to Imagine that. And you're like, wow, that was a great movie because it lets you produce that without actually doing it yourself. So these things sell. And it sells and it sells until it mesmerizes the mind until you do it yourself. That's the psychology behind this. It makes money.
That's right. Just actually just enticing the brain to like want to put yourself in that position.
Just like Lady Gaga said, born this way, that's the way B-Bot or whatever, this bot, he was born defective. Ralph was born defective and he didn't change. None of these movies ever show where something's defective and we fix him and make him right. Actually, in this movie, the boy ends up in the hospital and they take the robot and they fix him and they give him back to the kid. And he's like, hey, I fixed him. And he's doing all the right things. The robot's acting the way he's supposed to. And the kid's like, that's not him. He's not like that. And he ends up, I don't know how he gets him fixed or whatever. But another movie that does this same thing that I didn't add in here is the Ugly Dolls. We got a whole video on Ugly Dolls. Same thing. You got two worlds. This colorful world of everything's crooked and messed up, and all the characters are defective, and they got one eye and horns and all these things. And they want to go up to the big world.
The perfect world.
The Institute of Perfection. The School of Perfection that's ruled by Lou, and he's like this perfect guy who's critical, and when they go up there, he's constantly saying, oh, you're too ugly. Oh, you got a little blemish right there. And they just paint this picture like Christ is really critical of you. And in the end, they defeat him, they defeat Lou, and merge the two worlds together. And it's called Institute of Imperfection. And everybody's painting on their faces, and they're just running around. And it's always about merging the two worlds together. So we're going to go through kind of a comparison here. We talked about The Matrix. Another movie that was like The Matrix, had the same type of characters, is Smallfoot. We got a video on that. This is all kind of review, guys. I just want you to see them side by side, because it's like if you see it 1 week and you see it 2 weeks later and then a month later, you don't really get the big picture. Like when I see it, it's just like, man, is there any new idea? Or is it always the same story over and over? The Lego movie, like Keith was saying, same characters. You got the New Age Christ, you got the Sophia the Serpent, and you got these godlike characters, and then the Truman Show. So to go through the characters that are like Christ, you got Neo, who's the New Age Son of Man. You got Migo, who's your friend, Amigo. You got Emmett, who is truth. They said that the name really came from the Hebrew, truth. And you got Truman, who's the true man.
And these things aren't to be like Christ. This is the Gnostic Christ that they're trying to portray.
Right. They kind of make you think it's like Christ, but that's what Satan's going to do. He's going to come as Christ and deceive millions of people. They're going to say, no, that's him. All the characters are there, look. But there's going to be subtle things different about him. His agenda's different. And it's interesting that Truman's sitting there with his arms stretched out like that. That's a popular image of him. The Sophia character is Trinity in The Matrix. This girl, I don't remember her name, but she was actually the Stonekeeper's daughter. So the villain's daughter tells the main character that, no, this is all a fake world or whatever. This character, Wild Style, I think. Wild Style. Her name is actually Lucy. A little nod to Lucifer there, I think. And then the girl here at the bottom, I don't remember her name either, but he thought her name was one name, but she said, no, my name's actually Lauren or whatever. So again, with the L, it was like her name was something that started with an S, and then it became something with an L. I just think it's interesting. Satan, Lucifer. And then the bad guys, you got the triune agents here. You got the Stone Keeper, who's literally dressed with a robe of stones with laws on them. And we'll see that in a video clip right after this.
Which movie is that?
Smallfoot.
Smallfoot, okay.
He's the Stone Keeper. Then there's Lord Business, who's, he's the Lord of Business. And then down here you have Christoph, or Christoph, whose co-partner is Moses, who's living in the moon watching everything that Truman does.
And he's the creator of the television show.
Yeah, the creator. So we're going to look at a couple of these clips. We're going to look at how all these start out with this perfect world, like Eden.
This is my world. And I gotta say, it's awesome! And the best part, everyone's happy. That's because our world is built on a foundation of stones. See, we have these laws that are written in stone. literally written in stone, interpreted and enforced by the Stone Keeper. They pretty much tell us everything that we need to know.
The stones are here to protect us and keep us safe.
Are you kidding
It's
me?
interesting language that he uses, and it is awesome. The Lego movie, how it opens, everything is awesome, It's also how they end the movie.
Good morning, apartment. Good morning, doorway. Morning wall. Morning ceiling. Good morning, floor. Ready to start the day. Here it is. Instructions to fit in, have everybody like you, and always be happy. Step 1, breathe. Okay, got that one down. Step 2, greet the day, smile, and say, good morning, city.
So again, he woke up in a perfect world. Everything was great. He reads the instructions. His bookshelf has multiple instructions on there on how to be happy, how to have joy. God gives us joy, right? Here's Truman Show, same thing.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Give me a paper there, will you, Errol? Oh, and,
That'd be all for you, Truman?
that's the whole kit and caboodle.
Catch you later.
Morning. Hank.
Morning, Truman.
Morning, Truman.
Good morning, Truman.
Hey, how are you guys? Beautiful day, isn't it?
Always.
And how's your lovely wife?
Always a beautiful day. That odd little interaction here was he lives on a movie set, and so they're putting some product placement here for the camera. That's how they do their advertising. This is an older movie, so maybe not everybody's seen it. But you see like the same parallels, man. And there's so many examples. We're just trying to show some, like 3 of them, but so many movies that do this.
Perfect paradise, perfect paradise, perfect paradise.
Yep. And then you're going to find out it's not such a perfect paradise. So here are examples of the Sophia or the serpent character in the Smallfoot movie.
He's here.
Michi?
Welcome. I'm really glad you're here.
What is this place exactly?
It's Smallfoot Evidentiary Society.
You're like a Smallfoot club, and hold on, you're the leader. But you're the Stone Keeper's daughter.
Look, I love my father, but he isn't exactly what you would call open to new ideas. Because questions lead to knowledge.
And knowledge is power.
Wow. The Stone Keeper's daughter is the one who's telling him, oh, my father, again, like Luke, which means light. His father was the God character. Her father is the God character, and he's not really keen on new ideas because new ideas are about knowledge.
It's the insinuation of the serpent. God is keeping something from you.
Yeah. And who would you believe, more than the Stone Keeper's daughter, the one who's closest to him? Lucifer was right there with God. He had a lot of influence in heaven.
He was a covering cherub, and so he was right beside God lots of times. So why wouldn't you trust a covering cherub higher than all the angels?
Able to convince a third of the angels that God is a liar. It's amazing.
Series is over. Benny, send this out to everyone in the universe. Hey, everybody. You don't know me, but I'm on TV, so you can trust me. This is Emmett. And he was just like all of you, following the same instructions as you. All of you have the ability inside of you to be a groundbreaker, and I mean literally. Break the ground! Peel up the pieces, tear apart your walls, build things only you could build. We need to fight back against President Business's plans to freeze us. It will be known as Freedom Friday.
Wow. Freedom to do what?
Wow.
Whatever you want. Break the rules, break the instructions, because in the movie, Lord Business is trying to make everybody follow the instructions. And she's saying, no, tear the walls up, tear the floor up, do whatever you want. Freedom Friday. And it was supposed to be Taco Tuesday, but now it's Freedom Friday, so we should change the date even.
And Lord Business actually in that movie says that if you don't follow the rules, we'll put you to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a another little slam on God.
Yeah. So here's the Truman Show, the scene with his serpent Sophia lady.
Truman.
What do they want?
Listen to me. Everybody knows about it. Everybody knows everything you do. They're pretending, Truman. Do you understand? Everybody's pretending.
I don't know.
No. My name's not Lauren. It's Sylvia. My name's Sylvia.
Sylvia? Hey, wait a minute. Who are you?
I'm her father.
What?
I've never even seen you before.
We're doing it.
Please.
Truman, please.
No,
Don't listen
no.
to him. Everything I've told you is the truth.
Please.
It's fake. It's all for you.
I don't
And the
understand.
sky and the
Come on,
sea,
honey.
everything. It's a set. It's a
Please.
show. Everybody's
You'll be
watching
all right.
you. Please, don't listen
Please,
to him.
Lauren.
He's gonna lie to you. Watching us
going
right
on?
now.
So she said, my name's not Lauren, it's Sylvia. My name's not Lucifer, it's Satan. I don't know. I just, maybe I'm looking too far into that. But the other character's name was Lucy, but she went by Wild Style or something. I can't remember. It's Wild something. So we see over and over the same parallel going on. And now here it is leaving that perfection, finding out that perfection isn't really something good. It's actually something evil, and you want to get away from that.
Huh? The whole road.
I told you the stones were here to protect us.
So here it's they were convinced that the mountaintop they lived on was all that was the only thing that existed. They didn't realize that each of them, spoiler alert, were working for this machine that would create cloud coverage so they couldn't see the world below them. And when Migo found out there was a world down there, he wanted to go unite both worlds like always. And there was this battle going on where somebody in that helicopter didn't want this to happen. So the Stonekeeper threw all his laws. He was totally against this. He was the one creating the deception. He knew about the world down there, and he created the whole machine that every one of them had a job in making the cloud coverage. He was the one that knew all about it. But now here he's like, yeah, you're right. Let's get rid of all these stones. He just threw them all away.
And he was trying to convince them that there was a lie that he was trying to make them all believe, and that it was a beautiful lie.
He's trying to convince Migo that the lie was a good thing, because if you go down there, they're just going to hurt you or whatever.
But that's just the reversal that Gnosticism does. You know what I mean? It's like they're calling God the liar. They're calling him the one that's the evil villain, or he's controlling or whatever.
Well, we'll see that's the same way as in Truman Show when he finds out he could leave. God's pleading with him, no, it's nothing but pain out there. This is perfect in here. So here's the Lego movie.
You might see a mess. Exactly. And a bunch of weird, dorky stuff that ruined my perfectly good stuff. Emmett, thank you. And I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart, from this moment forward, I solemnly promise that I will never... Where's Lucy?
Emmett!
Lucy! What's this?
Oh,
Yay.
Mommy, Daddy, you're okay. Oh, son!
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. We're okay, son.
It's like a resurrection kind of.
Yeah, what in the world just happened there? Wow.
It was all chaotic. The bad guy in the Lego movie is actually a Lego personification of this boy's father, who said, don't touch my Legos. And he's got them all glued together perfect, the way the instructions told him to put them together. But by the end, he's like, you're right, son. Let's unglue. He's pouring all the chemical to unglue everything, and you can just see the chaos happening, but it's the happy chaos at the end. So here's the Truman Show, and you'll see this same interaction where the God figure is trying to plead with Truman, no, stay in this perfect world. Don't go out there into the darkness.
Speak. I can hear you. I am the creator of a television show that gives hope and joy and inspiration to millions. Listen to me, Truman. There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you. But in my world, you have nothing to fear. It's okay, Truman. I understand. I have been watching you your whole life. I was watching when you were born. I was watching when you took your first step. You can't leave, Truman.
Please, God.
You belong here. You're on television. You're live to the whole world.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
I really wonder if the actors recognize the depth of this, you know, like here he is, like almost in a crucifixion pose, stepping out into outer darkness, leaving the world that God created for him, or the creator created for him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, do they recognize that, like, in a big picture sense?
I've heard some of them mention that they are spiritual and they are doing God's work. They don't understand, I think, the whole concept of the Bible and the whole story that's being spread out, but they understand spirituality, but they're worshiping, they don't realize it, the wrong God. And that's I think is the most scary part. When you have someone that not only doesn't understand what they're doing, but they also are spiritual in the wrong sense, they can do the most damage.
They're being totally influenced and possessed. And a lot of them will tell you, yeah, that wasn't me out there doing that. I could have never acted that, you know.
Yeah.
I went to my trailer and prayed. You guys got to watch Actors Channeling Spirits Part 1 and 2, man. This is not just us being extremists. Like, this is admitted from the mouths of the directors, the writers, the actors. So, I mean, this is just... I mean, the way they did this was so in your face. The sun rays, and he's speaking from the sky, and he's saying, I'm the creator who brings hope and joy and, you know, all these things. And don't go out there because I have a perfect world for you. I've watched you since the beginning. You know? It's just, they don't even hide it. So I want to end with something that Scotty's actually looking into to make a video on, so be looking out for that. But here's a comparison. You're going to see it. I'm not going to have to tell you what to look for. Just watch a piece of the beginning of this, and then it's actually going to show a side-by-side comparison of Lego Movie as well. But Free Guy's the same story over and over. Check it out.
This is Free City, and the people who wear sunglasses are heroes. They have a devil-may-care attitude, and they run this town. See? That's not even his car or his wife. For the sunglasses people, they get to do anything they want. They go on all sorts of missions, they got cool hair, cool clothes. I mean, laws aren't really laws to them. They're more like mild suggestions. Like, I don't think he's gonna return that car or that nice lady. See what I mean? Hero. My name is Guy, and I live in paradise. Good morning, Goldie. I've lived here in Free City my whole life. I've got a best friend, I've got a goldfish.
I mean, that's just
so bizarre.
Yeah, it's so weird when you see it like that side by side. You're just like,
yeah,
I feel like we're being programmed or brainwashed.
Yeah. Well, that's how mesmerism works.
Yeah.
Repetitive until it gets into your head subconsciously.
Yeah.
So what's the lady's character in there? That's the Sophia
What's her name?
Yeah.
I don't know her name.
Let's see. I don't remember her name either. But she is the one that kind of, is the one that sparks him to make this change, that he's living in this, controlled environment. What is really interesting though is you have this Lego movie, which is, I would say mostly for kids, and this concept of Free Guy would be more of an adult. And so it's almost like the same exact message is happening with the kids, happening with the older, and it's like different levels of where people are in society are still getting the same message.
And he's saying the hero is the one that does whatever he wants, and the laws are just kind of like mild
suggestions.
I mean, we see that even in Christianity, man.
And the creator, we'll do a whole breakdown, because this Free Guy was a really interesting. It was paralleled to what's going on in the world right now. So many scenes were exactly like a good representation of what Gnosticism is actually doing in the media. And so I think it really needs its full breakdown. But the creator of the video game, he's this evil guy that actually stole the code, and so he was being shady, and even how he was doing it. And then once he found out that this characters were wanting to do whatever they wanted to do in the video game, he then needed to destroy the entire video game. So he took out an axe and he went into the server room, and he was like going to wipe them all out. And it's pretty amazing how you see so much of these parallels over and over and over again, that you have to ask the question, why? What's the purpose of this? There'd be no logical reason to see this kind of consistency if people are just making this stuff up.
Yeah, biblically, God created two perfect beings, put them in a perfect world, and because of sin, he's going to have to destroy the whole world.
Yeah.
And
that's
painting
the
in such
storyline.
a bad light, but who wants to live in a world that's filled with rapists and murderers and thieves and liars,
Well, in this particular one, Free Guy, it was like the more that he stole, the more that he got leveled up. He called it leveling up. And it was like, you need to steal more. You need to do more evil. You need to do these things. And that's what made him a more popular person in the end, which was pretty amazing. So, it's just a reversal of what the Bible's trying to teach you. And that's why I believe it's so important to get your source of information about your worldview and everything else from the Bible. If you're getting it from all this modern media, you're getting the wrong picture over and over and over again.
Yeah. Did you have some, Keith?
No.
Okay. So I basically just want to wrap this up with, these movies have an agenda. Look, the people from The Matrix said, we put a spiritual Gnostic message in there, and we wanted to draw people in through this type of media. People say we're overanalyzing it, yet you go search it out. Look up, this movie changed my life, or this movie explained, and people will be pointing out the smallest, most minute things, and you read the comments, people are like, wow, that's amazing, I never saw that, and they'll be talking about, the director actually said he did it for this reason and that reason, but when we point it out, we're overanalyzing. I think that's just because there's a conviction there, We're actually trying to get you to make an action. Stop watching this stuff. Psalms 101:3 says, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not cling to me. We're in a spiritual war, guys. You're being influenced by God, and you're being influenced by demonic forces. And when you got these glowing rectangles that are full of action and giving you this Gnostic story, and you're drawn to that for hours every single day, and then you look at your Bible and you're like, I should probably read a verse today, or a chapter or something, It's just, everything is a distraction. Satan doesn't care if he turns you into a Satanist, or turns you over to the occult or the New Age. If he can just distract you from getting in his word, it's the only source of a weapon against him. He is a powerful foe, and when he tempted Jesus in the wilderness, Jesus said, it is written, it is written, it is written. There's nothing that we can do physically to fight. We do not battle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, and the only source of a weapon we have against them is God's word. So my appeal to you guys is, make an initiative this year. We're still early in the year. Make it your New Year's resolution to get in start having a devotional life. Get in the Word of God every day, even if it is just a verse a day or a chapter a day. I have a guy who sends me a text message every day from church, and I'm thankful, and I read that, and I drive about 40 minutes to work, and that's my prayer closet time when I drive to and from work. Set aside a time to get in God's Word, and don't be so distracted that you lose time with God, because it's the only thing that's going to keep us from being deceived in these last days. If you guys were blessed by this episode, don't forget to click like. If you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to click the bell and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this. Also, let us know if you see any other movies that you see this kind of theme in, and share this video with your family and friends. And we will see you guys next Friday. Bye, guys.
Is there any hope for me?
What can I do to unify my family on not watching harmful media?
How do I know my thoughts are my own, and how can I distinguish between impressions from God?
I'm nervous when it comes to sharing my testimony. It is really that important.
I stopped watching mainstream media. Now what?
Sometimes we get a lot of people asking the same kind of questions, so we thought it would be cool to make these little videos answering some of them in a new series called I Got a Question. Concise answers to your media-related questions. We'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us privately on our Instagram page or Facebook. And if you don't use social media, that's all right. Send us an email through our website, littlelightstudios.tv/contact us. Hey, we're here to help. We're here to help you let your little light shine.